In the last video, we formed our LLC. Now it is time to get the EIN, the Federal Tax ID, your business needs so you can open your bank account. Most formation companies charge around $200 to do this. Today, I'm going to show you how to get the exact same EIN yourself completely free. We'll fill out the official IRS application together, line by line, and I'll explain the one section that confuses almost everyone, line 9A. Get that wrong and it can cause headaches with IRS later. So no SSN, no ITN, no US residency required. And make sure you subscribe because this is a part of a complete business formation series. In the next video, I'll show you how to open a US business bank account for your new company, step by step, even if you don't live in the US. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to do, go to the IRS website. We need a form called SS-4. That is the form. We have the form, so we can download the form and fill it, and also instructions. So if anything is not clear, there is instructions for each question. But before we start the form, I'll just show you more information about EIN and how you can apply, so you know which way is the best way to apply for EIN. So if you go to just search for EIN, Employer Identification Number, by IRS, it's got all the information, and it talks about delays here, how long it will take to obtain the EIN by fax. There is a delay. So here ask us who needs an EIN before you apply, ways to apply for EIN. So I wanted to show you which ways you need to apply for EIN. The first method is applying online, and it's free, and you get the EIN basically in few minutes. But this is only for people within the US. So people are living in the US. So if you click on it, it would ask if you have a social security number. The other fax or a phone number, and just something, and it says for people outside basically the US. Now for the phone number, if you have an LLC, you can't use the phone number. This is for people who are from outside and they want the EIN number, and you can't do that. Like certain platform, like for example KDP at the time, they had like a withholding of 30% of tax on accounts for people outside the US unless they get an EIN. So people would get an EIN as a foreigner. So somebody working in Morocco, and he wanted basically to sell like in KDB or something, they call the phone number and they will get an EIN instantly in the phone. So that's the method. But for people who have LLC but they are not in the US, they can do it is through fax. And it says the fax takes 4 business days. It doesn't take longer than that. The other method is by mail and everything, and this is gonna be long actually. So the best way to do it is through the fax, and we'll go through the steps now. So I wanted to show you, this is a company that's closed down. So I wanted to use this as an example, so I show you. So once you form your LLC, you will get a document like that. So this is how you're going to fill the information from this document. So this is the company name. I just searched for a random name, LUL, and that company came up. And this is dissolved company. So we'll try to use this as an example only. So this is the form. So the first question is, what's the LLC name? So we said the company name was LUL LLC. Question 2, if the business has a different name, there is no name. Number 3, nothing. Administrator, executor, no, we don't need to fill this up. Mailing address. Now the mailing address will be in your document. So this is the business address. So if we go to that example, so this is the mailing address. That section is the mailing address that you need to put in the form. So we got the full address for 4A, just the room, apartment, suite number, and then here are the city and the zip code, and then here the state, okay? And then, so street address, if different, no, city address, if different, and if foreign, see instructions. So you can see instructions at each stage if you're not sure. 7A, name of responsible party. So who's responsible for this EIN? This would be the LLC, basically director or CEO or the member. So if you go to actually instruction and check 7A. So here is 7A, who is the responsible party. defined responsible party is the person who ultimately owns or control the entity or who exercises ultimate effective control over the entity. So they're basically the owner of that company. So we go and put our name. Question 7b. So enter your SSN, ITN, or EIN. We don't have any of these, so we will write foreign. The second question, is this application for a limited liability company LLC? The answer is yes. If yes, enter the number of LLC members. So assuming it's only one person is doing the LLC, single member, one person, one. Question 8c, if yes for number 8a, was the LLC organized in the United States? Is yes as well here. Okay, for question 9a, so what type of entity is it? Is it sole proprietor? If it's sole, then you need to write your SSN number. Obviously, we are not in the US, so we don't have that social security number. Are you partnership? Are you corporation? Are you personal service? And it's listing all of these, which none of them apply to us. Other apply, and you have to say what other. So if you go to the instructions again, and I actually saw a CPA explain this, but he went over my head, still couldn't understand it. So I asked ChatGPT to explain to you, and it's actually clarified it, and I'll explain exactly what it means. So if you choose other, I'm going to go to the instructions and show you what it means. So if you go to the section, it's telling you if you choose others, then you have to list one of these, and it's telling us all the options. Household employer agent, and the list goes on until it talks about disregarded entities. And in here, it says that basically as a foreign-owned US disregarded entity. So if you choose other, you have to write that you are foreign US disregarded entity. And you have to submit Form 5472. I asked ChatGPT, what does that mean? ChatGPT said, disregarded entity is a business that the IRS ignore for tax purposes. Most common example, single member LLC. And then here summarize it. So it's a foreign-owned US disregarded entity, usually a single member, is created in the US and is ignored for US tax purposes, but still need to report certain info. So that's what it means. So that's what we need to put in the form, and I hope this is now clarified it, why we need to write this. So question 9b, name the state or foreign country. So it's not a corporation, so we do not applicable for us in the state, and it's not a foreign country, we do not applicable. Now, reason for applying, we ticked started new business, and you need to write what type of a business it is. So e-commerce, you can write whatever business you are, say started e-commerce business or started digital product, whatever the business is, write it in here. And then we'll go to question 11, date the business started. Now, you will find it in your incorporation paper again, the filing. So if you go to that example company that we used, so it's here, it says that it's officially started on the 14th of July 2021. So we go put that in the form. So it tells us in the US they want the month, day, and year. So July 14, 2021. Closing month of accounting year. Now, I saw the CPA advise actually to do it in December. So like in the UK, it's quite different. We do it, the closing or the accounting is according to when the company was formed. So if it was formed in March 2025, then accounting year is every March. So from March. For the US, they do the whole calendar from January to December. So we'll write December. Question 13, if you have employees in the agriculture, household, other. So no, 0, 0, 0. And here, question 14, if you expect your employment tax liability, no, that does not apply to us, so we'll leave that blank. Question 15, first date, wage or annuity was paid, month, date, year, and Again, not applicable. So question 16, check one box that describes the principal activity for your business. So depend what you are doing. Are you doing wholesale? Or if you are doing e-commerce, then you will write other, and then you would write again e-commerce business, and then indicate. So question 17, you have to say what goods are you selling. So let's say you're doing an Amazon business and you're selling kitchen products. Has the applicant entity shown online one ever applied for and received an EIN? Then if you have, then you press yes, otherwise is a no. If you have one, then you will write here if you have another EIN. Here, third part designee. So let's say if this is filled by someone else, like a company, then they'll fill up the information. But if you fill in the form yourself, then you will have to download the form, sign it, date it, and then you would scan it. And I'll show you the next step. But you need to put in a fax number here. Put your phone number with your country code, whatever country you are, you can put that in. For the fax, get an US fax number, because they will send you an information on the fax number. And I'll show you how we can obtain this. So let's just go make sure that everything is complete in the form. Just make sure that everything is written. 10, 11, that's it. Everything is complete. So you need to type or print clearly your name. So we need to declare our name, our full name, and then your phone number with the code and the fax number that we will obtain. And then we will download the form, sign and date, and then fax. So this is the fax number to get the fax number. So you can actually send faxes and receive faxes. So what you need to do is sign up for at least a month until your EIN come in, then you can cancel it. So if you go to pricing, you can actually get a 30-day free trial. So you can actually use it for free. And you can cancel, hopefully, if your EIN arrive before that. So if you look at that, for the free package, they have the free package, but you're not able to receive faxes. So email to fax, receive fax. So you don't have that in the free package. So the one they have is $9.99 a month, but you can start free trial for 30 days. So if you click on that, it will tell us that it's 30 days free trial. Okay. So just if you have a fax, then you can use that. But that's the option that I found. It's cheap and it's quick. And what happens is once you send the paper, they will actually send you a copy in your email. So whatever you send or whatever you receive, you will get those copies. So this is how you're going to do it. So what you're going to send and where you're going to send it. So what you need to send is 3 items. So the form completed. So you completed your form. So when you fax your fax, put them together. The first one is the SS form completed and signed, and it's got the fax number. And then article of organization, the second document. And the third document is this. It's called initial resolution. That will be in your dashboard in your Northwest. So basically saying, because in Wyoming, your information is private, so nobody could tell if you're the owner or not. So you've got initial resolution, which says the agent of Northwest is organizer of this LLC in Wyoming. So you need to send that one as well. So 3 documents, form completed, signed, and it's got the fax number. And you will send the fax to this number. You will find this in the instruction for applying for EIN. So this is the number you need to send your fax to. So once you send the form, you fax the form, you wait for the fax back. Normally it would take about 3 to 4 weeks. They will send you a paper copy to Northwest. So you will get an email in Northwest that the EIN is available. And then a few days later, they will send you confirmation in the fax. So keep the fax for at least a month, or say 6 weeks, until you get your EIN. If there is a delay, you can call them. There is a phone number. You can call them and ask them why is the EIN is not available yet. Sometimes they might give you the EIN on the phone if it's already been processed. They just need to fax information or email information. They might give you the number. If you, after a few weeks, you haven't received it. So if after 4 weeks, if you have received it, call them and see what it is. But This is the information that you need to do the EIN completely free by yourself. And this is not tax advice. You can ask an accountant for an advice. This is just sharing my personal experience. I hope you find it helpful. If you have any questions or any comments or anything that you need me to cover, please write them in the comments below.